new streaming service will exploit artificial intelligence to allow users to write, voice, and even animate episodes of shows it carries. Fable is a US-based startup, and it'll allow users to watch AI-created series and then create their own content. It could, of course, have implications for the existing streaming services and platforms. We're joined by Juliette Powell, author of The AI Dilemma. Juliette, thanks very much for joining us. I'm still trying to get my head around this, though, but apparently people can, for example, put themselves and their friends into episodes. It really sounds quite revolutionary.
It does indeed, Andy. Can you imagine yourself in an episode of South Park? Well, 8 million people did. And this happened last summer. That's right. This platform actually launched in its preliminary phase last summer. And so millions of people got a chance to see not only South Park characters, but also South Park-like animation with their own faces and those of their friends, which means that it was a test. And what a test. It was so successful that now we're seeing the launch of the actual platform that created that animated series. But this time around with also the launch of a brand new series. They dropped 2 episodes, and it's really fun. It's called Exit Valley, for anybody who likes the trials and tribulations of startup culture, Silicon Valley, where you know that, the goal is not necessarily to grow the company, but rather to exit quickly. This episode in this series really captures that zeitgeist. And at the same time, for those of us who are curious about what we would see and what we would feel like and experience in that kind of an environment, we can actually upload not just images of ourselves, images of our friends, but also write our own scripts. And when we talk about writing our own scripts, we are talking about prompts, as in prompt engineering. So the script in your mind could literally be 10 to 15 words typed out, and that generates an episode that's between 2 and 16 minutes long. Now, of course, that brings up so many different implications. Yes, for Hollywood. Yes, for Netflix. In fact, this organization is calling itself the AI-driven Netflix, which we know that Netflix is already AI-driven. But I feel like animation might just be the first step. This is kind of a test, another kind of test, where we're seeing more and more people hearing about this and getting excited. But I can tell you, Andy, that there are a lot of people that are not excited. What about all the lawsuits that we're seeing around copyright
from actors
when it comes to generative AI?
Sorry, Scarlett Johansson, notably, of course, irate about her voice being used apparently by OpenAI. Yeah, I mean, the copyright lawyers must be just rubbing their hands in glee at the amount of work that's going to be needed to straighten this out.
Well, I've said this many times, the real people that are making money are the lawyers all around. But what's really interesting to me is really the sense, in one hand, where we're really giving the power to the users, to people that want to be able to create their own stories and don't necessarily have the traditional tools of animation or the skills necessary to do it. This is where they get to unleash and really explore that side of creativity. We've also seen showrunners on actual shows testing out the showrunner platform so that they can test out their ideas for scripts in real time. At the same time, many people are going to ask themselves, why is my image popping up on this animated series that I never agreed to if they uploaded their images to this platform? And I think that, one of the things that lawyers are definitely talking about right now is this idea that back in August, when the first South Park series was originally launched by this AI studio, what they said was that they would go and work with IP holders and content creators to make sure that there was no mishigash, because we were at that time right smack in the middle of the strike with Hollywood in terms of the writers and the actors. And here we are just a few months later. Have they gone through and signed those papers? I don't know. I haven't heard any follow-up on that, Andy. Have you?
No, and is that ever a developing story? Just finally, Hollywood has been hiring a certain type of engineer. Is this for AI-generated content? Can you? But there's been disappointment. Can you tell us what's been going on there?
Sure. There's been a series of threads on Reddit, on X. Lots of people in the industry have been talking about how Hollywood and many creatives have essentially been exploring what to do with generative AI, what to do with prompt engineering, and in many cases are displacing many of the people that would traditionally be designing and constructing storyboards, for example, for stories and many other factors. And what they've been doing really is hiring prompt engineers. So people that essentially have a tech background, who have no artistic background, didn't study art, and they've been asked to create these characters that are used and, essentially digesting our own personal data to create these new characters, if you will. And one of the issues has been not only because they don't have an artistic background, but because the nature of Gen AI up until that point didn't allow one to iterate. So if you came up with something that was close to what you were trying to do, and then you got together with the team and it's like, oh, just tweak this, tweak that, change the color, maybe lighten the background or add these other elements, you couldn't just ask the system to do that. It would create a whole new image and a whole new suite of things that you hadn't ever asked for. So this is really a turning point where all of a sudden you're actually seeing what you asked for come out in much longer clips. Now, we're not just talking about, a couple of seconds. I remember 3 weeks ago, I was in British Columbia, Nanaimo, and I was speaking to a group. They wanted to know what to do with Gen AI and creativity. And at that point, I unveiled the very first music video that was created by Gen AI. And that was pretty amazing. It was 3 or 4 minutes long. Now we're talking about 16-minute clips.
Wow.
Prompted by 10 to 15 words. So imagine the possibilities with that.
Oh, my